As an artist living with fibromyalgia, it's hard, but I have a voice and I feel it's needed for awareness, as people not artists is struggling and have no voice to make the world aware of their struggle. I am a singer-songwriter, entrepreneur and creative designer. Also, most recently became a motivational speaker and youth leader. I have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. I was first diagnosed about 9 years ago with osteoarthritis. Gradually my symptoms became worse. And so I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 3 years ago. As my symptoms worsened, I have had to learn to give myself permission to simply play with instruments in my studio and not feel I have had to achieve anything, which I have found extremely difficult, and I have been very grateful for friends and team members who have encouraged me through assisting me with my music and design work. Even if I don't feel like it, I do recognize that creativity is one of the key healing elements in making one feel more uplifted and human again. I've been going to start this article many times, but each time I was about to commence, the dominant worst characteristics of my fibromyalgia change, flaw-ing me and causing me to stop and draw upon my inner strength to refocus and start writing yet again. I have not tried to use medical language, but will rather leave that for the experts. Also, I'm never very sure on some aspects whether the medication that is helping some, or of the more whether the medication that is helping along some of the symptoms, some of which are more serious symptoms, are and are not at all helpful with others, but nothing medicine-wise really works. The pain is always there. Of course, all the other symptoms just keep perpetuating and even multiplying at times, over the years, and sometimes to me even seemingly replicating other diseases, but I will come back to these. Upon reflection over the years, I consider one of the worst aspects of living with fibromyalgia is loneliness. Nobody actually sits down with you and says, "Now tell me what it is like living with fibromyalgia." Nobody. People will say, "How are you today?" But that is embarrassing. Do you really want to be known as someone who complains all the time? No. So, to inform you as little as possible, you just mention localized pain and weakness sometimes. Each day is a challenge, and the current severe pain areas are in my arms, shoulders, neck, and most painful and severe pain is my back, from my upper down to my lower spine and coccyx bone that seems abnormal. I also have ongoing very bad pain in my hips and legs, which is made worse by standing and walking or any movement. In fact, constant pain is extremely unpleasant and causes a lack of functioning, and many other symptoms that make life very difficult, but it is not something I focus on, although it's frightening. Therefore, keeping my mind and hands busy for as long as I can before I retire to bed, sometimes only at 3 a.m., finally falling asleep by 5 a.m. to be awake again by 6 a.m. Nevertheless, I do get up in the mornings, as I believe in moving very strongly and rest between moving. There are, however, days that I cannot move at all. My motor control movements and walking and standing is being very restricted more and more, and limits activities, especially the activities of that of a housewife and mother. This has been a problem in the past with other extreme health conditions, so I try to gauge the level sensibly. Although not the easiest of tasks due to consistent accompanied symptoms of fibromyalgia like migraines, brain fog, which is short-term memory loss, misplacing objects, becoming easily distracted, forgetting plans, difficulty carrying on conversation, inability to remember new information, multitasking not possible, chronic fatigue and generally feeling like you have no energy, insomnia, sleeping badly, feeling like you have no energy, waking up feeling unrested, the itchiness, bugs crawling on your skin, hair loss, easy bruising, disturbances in bowel and bladder function, painful periods, dysmenorrhea, sensory overload, sensitivity to loud noises and bright lights and even certain smells, and it's always changing, restless leg syndrome, and more. Flare-ups occur often, which makes pain so unbearable that I hide away, or just burst out in crying or snap easy at people. At times I even try hide the pain by starting to just crack not funny, stupid jokes and meaningless conversations that lets people shut me out all over again, all due to the unbearable irritability of the increased symptoms during flare-ups. My flare-up pain of fibromyalgia can be aggravated by noise, weather change, and emotional stress, hormonal changes, certain foods. At the moment I am not getting the pain in my back, legs and feet and toes to even normalize, neither in my arms, hands and fingers. My toes have pins and needles, feet are burning as though I have walked on fire and swelling, legs just go numb and I fall a lot, arms and hands goes numb, picking things up is hard, at times even holding a pen is impossible to do. The shooting pains, particularly in my chest, breasts and stomach, are also occurring more daily. Starting at the top of my body, sleep has been a very difficult issue, and until recently, due to cannabis, I've only been able to sleep on average 1 to 2 hours a night. Now I sleep about 3 to 4 hours a night. I sometimes have crash mode where I sleep more and longer, but never rest. I haven't been able to cope without my work on the computer or music for longer than 20 minutes at the most without feeling overwhelming pain and stress. Then having brain fog really gets to me, forgetting the simplest things where I used to be a master at multitasking and organizing. Neither can I cope with flashing lights, bright light or loud noises at times, and can feel dizzy easily. Memory loss is embarrassing to say the least. I have awful indigestion, although I eat little and very slowly, and I frequently feel sick. This seems to be felt through heartburn or coughing. I am breathless very easily. I have gradually lost my enjoyment of food. I feel as if I have a urine infection most of the time, which again interrupts the night as I get up between 5 to 7 times a night some nights and can't go out without stopping frequently. My vagina is so sore and painful, and sexual intercourse has been out of the question over the years. It's just too painful. My body temperature fluctuates excessively at times, and for the first few years I felt hot all the time, which was unusual. Then this changed to frequent hot flushes even if I want to go to the toilet, and always at nighttime, so feeling very menopausal. I have always been a sweaty person, but during these very warm times, I sweat a lot more, and it is quite sticky unlike usual sweat. It can feel as if sweat is trickling down my legs. I can go from very cold to very hot within seconds. Patches of my skin can sometimes feel as if they are burning. I experience extreme itching all over my body at times, and this can for me exceed the pain. It is so tormenting, and find myself scratching to the point blood runs. Other times it's just on my head, some back areas, arms and legs, and abdomen areas. Also, it can feel quite separately that there are insects crawling under my skin, often in my legs. Another sensation is that I have experienced in the past is similar to shingles, with similar stripes appearing that can be painful and itchy on my back and under my breasts for a few days. I also woke up one day with a red rash on one eye which looked as if I'd been punched in the eye, preceding a black eye, also random bruises appearing on my body. It took nearly a week to completely disappear. My eyesight does occasionally waver, and my eyes feel dry and itchy all the time. I also bruise very easily, sometimes as red dots which turn blue, and other times as a bruise that spreads. My ears itch badly all the time, and it always feels as though they are blocked, and constant tinnitus drives me insane from time to time. My hair loss is so bad at the moment that when I wash or brush my hair, it seems like I shaved my head, just leaving behind hair on my head. The hair is always everywhere, and when it's on my skin, it feels like spiders. Normal tasks like cleaning one's teeth proves very painful. Brushing my own hair is a very challenging task, and whatever I try to do to alleviate my pain, it's no longer working. Back pain and having a bath is no longer as easy, and takes me hours to just get dressed. This again means inwardly priming oneself up because of the effort taken, particularly if I wash my hair. Do I try to keep my arms up in the air when I can barely lift my right arm, or do I balance against the wall my body and bend right over, which is going to prove the easiest on that particular day? Of course, not all days are this bad. The frustration of being so weak causes anxiety that leads to periods of depression. I have been diagnosed before in my life with major depression, and this disease now seems to be bringing that back. Pushing myself to the limits sometimes just to prove that I'm not as useless as everybody makes me out to be, but that usually results in days off flare after one simple little tiny task that is barely even noticed by the people around me, and am often told I'm just lazy, or I'm not helping. Trying to explain that you try your best does not help, as no one believes you. Many people who suffer from this invisible illness find it challenging to talk about their condition with others, especially romantic partners. I fear that loved ones dismiss my health needs, and often being told it's all in your dismiss my health needs, and often being told it's all in your head. Still, if you care about someone and want to have a relationship with them based on a foundation of honesty, you need to face those fears, and so I try to find a way to bring up the subject. But I seldom get the support I need, so I just crawl back into my dark space and try to change my mindset for mood change using my music and creative work as meditative purpose. This normally calms me down enough to be able to manage my pain levels. I often get left alone, while others go out and have fun, or even shopping, and when you do get asked along, the embarrassment of just being baggage and in the way makes you say no. I often explain to people I wish I could go out on Saturday, but I have a health condition that wears me out, so I may need to cancel plans if I'm feeling too exhausted. Then they want to know more, yet soon look at you like you are the biggest loser. Sometimes I crave my normal life so much that I end up begging someone to just give me one night to try to be normal. This seldom happens, and you just end up being ignored and again be left alone. Walking and dancing, being active, running, sports, that was me. Now? I'm just broken, but still alive. One still hopes to grow stronger. Wishing for that miracle cure every day. Each day, no matter how I feel, I always determined to be up and dressed no later than 9 a.m. and try to be earlier than this. Make a list of tasks I want to accomplish the night before already, even if some go over to the next day, and the next. Go for a walk to feed the animals no matter how much pain I'm in, clean the kitchen just the minimal, knowing that I have at least tried doing something. Strategies are important too, like doing small tasks while sitting down at a table or on one's lap watching TV to distract from discomfort and pain. However, with the added stresses of COVID-19 and finances issues, the fight to be positive is more difficult, and depression is now more of an issue than before, which affects me as an artist but also in the home. People sharing interests are an antidote, even if only on WhatsApp or Facebook. My kids know as much as anyone what it is like to have fibromyalgia living with me every day, although they may not realize it, but their support and understanding helps a lot, and I know it is very difficult to see someone you love suffer, and they get frustrated even if they don't say anything. I would almost say it is worse for them than me. They become like carers when I deteriorate at times, and therefore, I would say that if I was on my own, further strategies would be necessary. My boyfriend also kicked me out, putting more stress on me. This of course causes flares too, as the pain of him slipping away due to an illness I never asked for hurts worse than anything, especially when you were sure he would love you till the end unconditionally, only to find it was a mere fairy tale. That's not gonna happen. Yet hope remains to get my life back, to do all the things I used to love and is now incapable of doing. I'm hoping my song I wrote, All I Need Is a Cure, will help fellow warriors. Song I wrote, All I Need Is a Cure, will help fellow warriors to explain this horrible disease to their partners and family in a better, easier way. The pain, fatigue, and poor sleep quality associated with fibromyalgia can interfere with your ability to function at home or on the job. The frustration of dealing with an often misunderstood condition also can result in depression and health-related anxiety. When fibromyalgia pains flare up, when symptoms temporarily increase in number or intensity, it is called a flare or flare-up. Every activity gets more difficult. All people experience flares differently, and there can be different triggers depending on the person. Some people with fibromyalgia might experience certain symptoms on a regular basis. However, the pain associated with fibromyalgia tends to fluctuate and worsen. Flare-ups can happen without warning and are mostly likely to occur if a person with fibromyalgia is stressed or under a lot of pressure. A flare-up can last anywhere from a few days to weeks at a time. And the worst part is, trying to explain to the ones who caused your stress, that by saying things to discredit you makes it worse, and they are the actual cause for the flare. Treating fibromyalgia flares can be tricky. Preventing a flare developing in the first place is less complicated than treating a flare. Fibromyalgia has several symptoms, which means that no one treatment will fix them all. Also, a treatment that works for one person may not work for another. So with that said, I strongly feel more support is needed for fibromyalgia warriors, especially the ones being alone with no family and those having no financial aid. In South Africa, this is really an urgent need, as fibromyalgia is not yet seen as a disability in our country, therefore it is extremely difficult to get financial help or means to survive. A fund for this purpose should be created, or a funding scheme for further research so people could understand this illness better. As a country, and as people of the world are already self-destructing with crime and hate, humanity can remain, and we can come together, not in hate but love, so that the hope for a pain-free tomorrow can continue and be brighter with each day getting closer to achieving the fibromyalgia awareness goal. Always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else. Let's create awareness for this horror disease that us as warriors survive every day. Be faithful in small things because it is in them that your strength lies. With a new day comes new strength and new thoughts. Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. You never know how strong you are, until being strong is the only choice you have. Thank you for reading, and I'm hoping that this will help somewhat to raise awareness in others. Please follow the links to my fibromyalgia awareness songs and video. Best I Can, a Fibromyalgia Warrior's Words. The Christmas version, All I Want Is a Cure.